In an otherwise unremarkable star system, out beyond the hustle and bustle of the major spacefaring civilizations in this fictional universe, lay a planet called Kharak. This world, although capable of supporting life, was not ideal at such a task. The planet Kharak was largely inhospitable, with its great deserts occupying the majority of its surface, leaving only meagre slivers of land that were suitable for humanoid life near its poles. For thousands of years, a race of people, known to us as the Kushan, scratched out a Spartan existence in the sands of this unforgiving world. Over time, they developed great cities and developed technology that allowed them to negate the deadly effects of the deserts of Kharak. Like humanity, they fought amongst themselves for control of what little wealth Kharak had to offer, spilling the blood of their kin in the boiling sands of a world well known, yet somehow alien to the Kushan. The Kushan looked to the sky, dreaming of a better home, for the forsaken wastes of their planet would not house their ever-increasing numbers, and in order to progress as a sapient species, to escape the eternal conflict amongst themselves for water and food, a new home must be found amongst the stars. The Kushan that lived on the northern part of the planet developed primitive rocket technology and placed the first Kushan-made objects in low orbit around their planet. At first, these satellites were for the purpose of the betterment of one clan at the expense of another. One fateful day, the Kushan discovered an anomaly in the baked wastelands of their homeworld that would change the fate of all their kind for eternity. For you see, they discovered a vessel, a spacefaring vessel, one that was eons old, yet technologically superior in every way, bearing markings and symbols that were part of Kushan history. At this point, the Kushan were split into two sides in regards to this matter. Those who realised that this anomaly, known to them as the Jaraki object, would accelerate the development of technology that could be used for Kushan efforts to reach the stars, and those who seen the whole concept of Kushan spaceflight as an affront to their god, known as Sajuk, believing that it was sacrilege for the Kushan people to ever venture from the sandblasted wastelands of Kharak. Those who sought the Jaraki object were led by Kif-Sajet, the largest clan of this group, and the religious group were known as the Galcian. Kif-Sajet and their allies mounted a large-scale expedition as the Galcian mounted a surprise attack on the northern clans in response to what they saw as heretical actions by the north in the launch of orbital satellites. Rachel Sajet, the lead scientist on this mission, launched an expedition onto the central wastes with the aid of a massive sandcrawler known as the Kapisi, fighting decisive battles against the Galcians through the forsaken and uncharted Galcian wastelands, finding many other artifacts belonging to an advanced spacefaring civilization on the way, greatly advancing their technology within mere days of finding them. After a long and bitter struggle to reach their destination, Rachel Sajet and the expedition finally reached the Jaraki object. Within the hulls of this ancient vessel, they discovered a stone tablet containing an etched stellar map. One marker on this map was the world that they currently stood upon. The other marker was labelled Higara. In the ancient tongues of the Kushan, this word meant home. With the discovery of the vessel they now knew as the Kartober, a great unification of the clans of Kharak occurred, for they now had a common goal: to leave this forsaken world and to reach Higara. Together as one, the Kushan carefully disassembled the Kartober, reverse engineering its technology, and in the process their civilization advanced centuries in the coming years. As each artifact from the Kartober was taken, studied, and remade, they used its understanding to establish a permanent presence within the orbit of Kharak. The Kushan set about the construction of an ark that would house many of their number on a voyage through the interstellar voids to their new, or old, home of Higara. It took the Kushan nearly 60 years to construct this vessel, with all of their race working in unison on this task. This vessel would house hundreds of thousands of colonists, would be able to manufacture any ship or device that was needed, and have the ability to defend its inhabitants should the need arise. A self-contained home housing 100,000 Kushan, all alone in the night. The Kushan surmised that in order to minimize the operations crew, in order to house more colonists aboard, that an individual would be merged with this vessel, acting as a command node for the whole of the mission. The person that was selected for this task was known as Kardashev. They hardwired her body into this mothership, and she would not know what it was to be unbound for the rest of her life. As the construction of the mothership was nearing completion, it was decided that they would construct a smaller vessel known as the kardashev. This vessel would be a testbed for some of the new technologies that have been developed for the great mothership. Once this vessel was completed, they would use it to scout out locations within their own solar system and test an early version of the FTL device that was reverse engineered from the kardashev. With the mothership finally completed, it was decided that in order to safely test the FTL capabilities of the mothership, that a short trip to the outer planets of their solar system to the kardashev's current location would be initiated. Traversing this short hop went flawlessly, and the crew of the mothership awaited transmissions from their colleagues on the kardashev, yet something was wrong. As Kushan scout parties assessed the location of their colleagues, they encountered the drifting hulk of the kardashev and the Jaraki raiders, a band of non-Kushan pirates laying in wait near the wreck of their colleague's vessel. A short skirmish was fought between the Kushan and the Jaraki raiders, but it became evident that these pirates were not prepared for a coordinated military response from a sizable force and were quickly swept aside by the united armed forces of the Kushan. Kardashev decided to jump the mothership back to Kharak in order to report their engagement to High Command. What they encountered once they stepped through the hyperspace doorway was a scene that few Kushan could fully contemplate. Kharak was burning. It seems that whilst the crew of the mothership was engaged in combat with the raiders, another, more deadly fleet had arrived around Kharak, quickly sweeping aside Kushan defences and launched a devastating bombardment on the planet's surface to burn Kharak with devastating weaponry. In a few hours, all that was left of the Kushan race was on board the mothership or in orbit contained in massive cryobays, and these cryobays were being attacked by mop-up crews belonging to the fleet that had exterminated their race. No quarter was shown with these vessels, and after the capture of some of the crew of this fleet, it became apparent that the Kushan had old enemies. During the interrogation of one of those who was captured by Kushan forces, it was revealed that long ago, before Kushan records began, their ancestors fought a war with a race known as the Taidani. This war was lost, and a treaty was signed, forcing the remnants of Higara to flee their planet. This ragtag fleet of civilian haulers limped through the cosmos, searching for a new place to call home, and many of these vessels did not make it. It was agreed between the Taidani and the Higarans that once they had reached landfall, never again was the Higarans to reach amongst the stars. The penalty for breaching this agreement was the extermination of their race in its entirety. Without realizing their history, the Kushan had breached this treaty by using the hyperspace device for the first time and had consigned those who were left on the surface to their fate. With the last of their race on board the mothership, Kardashev made the decision to leave Kharak for the last time, saying farewell to their loved ones who had perished on the surface. They only had one goal now, and cast their sails through the cosmos, to traverse its many unknowns, to seek revenge for the death of their loved ones and to find their new home, Higara. The Homeworld franchise, originally made by Relic Entertainment, is a 4-part game that started life in 1999 with the first installment, Homeworld. This was followed up with its ever-elusive sequel, Homeworld Cataclysm, and its natural successor, Homeworld 2, which is regarded as the best of the franchise. Years later, the rights to Homeworld were sold to Gearbox. Under this acquisition, we saw a remaster of the first game and Homeworld 2, releasing as one title, currently available for as little as $1 on PC. After this release, the game hardware Shipbreakers, which was in development by many of the original developers of Homeworld, was redesigned to fit the Homeworld franchise due to a licensing agreement with the IP owners Gearbox and Blackbird Interactive, who were making hardware Shipbreakers. On December 16, 2015, Homeworld: The Deserts of Kharak was released for pre-order on Steam and was the natural prequel to the first Homeworld game. Set on the planet Kharak during the struggles to find the Jaraki object, this game is a worthy addition to the Homeworld franchise and contains many of the original elements, artistic influences, and musical soundscaping choices that made the original 3 games such a masterpiece. I cannot stress too much how cool these games are. Thank you for bearing with me and watching this through to the end. Over the coming weeks, I will be expanding my content on this channel to include at first 4 more franchises, including the Homeworld franchise. Due to a distinct lack of lore content from FDev, I feel it is needed to continue growing the channel. Elite Dangerous lore releases will still be made, but I need to space out what I have left before Frontier decide to add some story progression that is meaningful to Elite Dangerous. I would like to thank the official members of the channel: David Gate, Ahsoka Ashla Tanyo, Swifto Scythe, Ministry of Magic Department of Mysteries, Patrick Green, the Wandering Reapers gaming community, Commander Omega 88, Alex Simon, and Mol Olsen. I would also like to thank the coffee backers ARG House and Commander Octavia. If you would like to become an official backer of the channel and get some exclusive content in the members section, then follow the link in the description. If you would like to leave a one-off donation and get your name mentioned in a video, follow the Ko-fi link also in the description. Please make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Until next time, Commanders, 07.